behind on this winter project, so here at work, grabbed a conference room, and spend my lunch hour talking about the big trip out west. Day 4, 530 miles from Kanab, Utah to San Diego. With the surprise and reveal looming, it was tough for me to sleep tonight. Maybe it was just the excitement, maybe it was the sarsaparilla and the lack of intoxication that kept me from sleeping hardly at all. I woke up for the 5th time, I think it was, about 6 a.m. Decided that's enough, let's get going. The Airbnb host had provided a nice spread for breakfast and was even getting up a little earlier than usual to accommodate me. So we had a nice chat over breakfast, and she even invited me to take some treats for the road. I left there and I needed some gas, so I went to the nearest station, and it was kind of interesting here to see that there was a bunch of signs indicating you must pay inside. I suppose that's kind of uncommon these days. And while filling up, I remembered the little Hollywood sign across the street. Before getting on the road, headed that way to take a photo. After a quick snapshot of the bike in front of the sign, I got back on, ready to tackle a long day of interstate, but the bike wouldn't start. Turned over a few times, but didn't catch. So I checked the neutral, checked the kickstand, cycled the clutch a few times, and nothing. Went through the same sequence, checking everything, and it started right up. Checked my distance to Vegas and saw there was about a full tank worth of riding, and determined don't shut the bike off until I get closer to Vegas. I'll probably be within proximity of a dealership. Of course, it was only about a half hour down the road. The sun came up, was shining bright, making it hot, and it was time for a gear change, which was, of course, back in the trunk, locked. In the past, I've been upset about needing to carry 2 keys because I couldn't get the top box key with the ignition key. But here, needing a separate key for the top box, I was happy to leave the bike running and be able to get into the top box and trade up my heavy riding gear for my thinner mesh gear. Coming up to the Arizona state line, there were mountains ahead. Didn't seem like anything interesting, especially since I had recently been through Colorado, but Utah was full of buttes. Here, Arizona was ahead, there's a mountain ahead. And off to the right, still Utah, and lots of buttes over there. Arizona, mountain, Utah, butte. One of those weird things that when you're dealing with yourself inside a helmet for many hours a day, it becomes really interesting. Some boring interstate later, I pull into Vegas and stop at a big truck stop near the NASCAR Speedway. With all the activity and the notions of Vegas, I was concerned about my gear, so after filling up, I unhooked the GoPro, brought it and the tank bag inside with me to use the restroom. A small snack, I was refreshed with my freshly drenched bandana, and I was ready to tackle some more interstate if the bike would start. Started up like a charm, and I was back on the interstate zooming along. I had planned on doing a flyby of the Vegas Strip. Some of it so I could capture footage to help with the reveal, and some just for the experience. While I was thinking about what I would try to capture with the GoPro, I realized I hadn't hooked it back up on the handlebars. By this time of the trip, I'd done so many things riding without hands on the handlebars, and the traffic was light, I figured I could just mount the GoPro back up without having to stop. I pulled it out of the tank bag, aligned it on the ram mount with one hand, and while trying to tighten it in place, I must have bumped the wing nut the wrong way because it went off, bouncing down the road. Eventually, the GPS told me to get off the interstate, and I obliged, looking forward to a visit of the Strip. Then the GPS told me to get right back on the interstate. I should have looked closer because the GPS had done this in the past, but those times I knew I didn't have a stop plan, so I just easily ignored it and stayed on the interstate. Here, I was close enough to the Strip, I figured I could go onto some surface streets and find my way there. That was quite an experience. There were a few back alley-type places that looked rather rundown and trashy, a little scary. Everything smelled like vanilla butter. I imagine I got glitter bombed just by the abundance of strip clubs in the area. Finally on the Strip, I did get some pictures of the bike amidst the Vegas, but they were with my phone, and they weren't the cockpit shots I was looking for from the GoPro. It wasn't long of the stop and go, sitting at lights for a long time along the Strip. I was ready to get back underway, and soon found myself on the highway again. It was a Sunday, and traffic heading southwest out of Vegas was pretty thick, but moving pretty well. But once approaching the California border, traffic slowed and stopped. I sat there idling in the heat for about 15 minutes before I decided I couldn't take it anymore. One leg was getting burned by the sun being down, the other leg was getting fried by the exhaust. The California border being so close, I was tempted to try my hand at lane splitting, but wasn't sure of the legality, and since I wasn't a practiced lane splitter, didn't really know what I was doing, I figured it probably wasn't a good idea. Plus, it was about time to grab a rest anyway, so get a drink, douse the bandana in water again, so I went to the shoulder and headed up to the next exit. On this exit, there was a huge pileup of cars trying to get out of the casino parking lot that shared its entrance with the gas station, and it was just chaos. I got to the gas station, headed inside to grab a Gatorade and use the facilities. The air conditioning inside the station was more shocking than refreshing. I decided I should probably only be here briefly, knowing that I was going to be headed back out into that heat real soon. Inside the bathroom, I was soaking my bandana and wondering why the water was so warm. I tried the hot and the cold taps and everything was coming out hot. Back home, it's not unusual to have the water heater that doesn't work so well in public areas, or maybe they don't even plumb the hot water. So usually it's the opposite if you get cold water out of both taps. Both taps being warm was very confusing to me. It was a little while later, again, solitary in the helmet, that I reasoned that the groundwater here probably wouldn't be very cold because it's so darn hot outside. When I sat in the little shade that there was next to the building and enjoyed a Gatorade and a beef jerky snack while I was watching the parking lot continue to cluster with cars. It also gave me time to grab some bolts from the truck stop gas station and kind of MacGyver something to make my GoPro RAM mount work again. After a half hour of resting, I got on the bike, picked a line of cars to sit behind. Without any shade and not moving anywhere, it didn't take long to abandon that idea, and I went looking for a good place to wait it out a bit longer. I saw a 5-story parking structure, so I headed that way, and up on the 4th level I could see the accident down the interstate and see the craziness that was the parking lot, and I had shelter from the sun. Plus the elevation being off the ground a little bit, there was a nice breeze coming through, so it was the best place I could possibly be. Previous days I had been gathering photos from the GoPro for the Big Reveal email, and I had a few new states to add to the list, so I took some time to pull those from the GoPro while I was sitting here waiting for traffic to clear. I'd sat in the parking lot for over an hour. There was going to be another half hour of idling in line before I got to the interstate. Sitting there for a long time, I started to wonder maybe I could use the benefit of this smaller machine to do some curb hopping and shoulder driving. But every time I thought about it, I kept envisioning getting stuck in the sand or tipping over or some other bad thing happening. So I just sat there nudging forward ever so slowly, eventually got to the interstate. Even here, there was still another 15 minutes of stop and go backup before finally making it past the bottleneck. Across the border into California, I was finally up to speed again and traffic was pretty thick. Lane splitting being legal here, I was eager to try it out, but the center line had markers that were kind of cut into the road and had raised reflectors, and that caught my tire when riding right on the line, made for a rather unsettling experience. Plus, I was noticing a lot of license plates were from non-California states, so they wouldn't be used to a motorcycle coming up the middle. Eventually, though, traffic slowed enough and I felt comfortable cruising down the center line just a few clicks faster than the traffic and under the speed limit. There's supposed to be some cool GoPro footage of my first lane splitting experience, but in my data gathering for the reveal email I did back in the parking lot, I either ran the GoPro out of battery or left it in Wi-Fi mode so the local buttons didn't work anymore. I'd been hot and miserable pretty much all day, especially during that parking lot stint, and even the previous couple of days too. Here I was passing Death Valley and I saw a sign that said it was 111 degrees Fahrenheit out. Previous days were just over 100 degrees and felt like the handlebar heaters were on if I were to take my hand off of the handlebar and let the sun hit it for a while. Here, even covering the handlebars felt like they were on. I kept looking at the controller light trying to determine if I had accidentally turned on or not. I had another odd realization when my visor flipped shut and it actually provided a bit of relief from the heat. I'd always been accustomed to any wind flow made you cool down, even if it was a warm airflow. Lots of interesting learning experiences on this trip. The next highly memorable event was coming over a mountain pass near Temecula and feeling the ocean air. It was almost like smelling a change in the atmosphere, a little bit of relief in the air, and a lot of excitement that I was getting really close. So one last stop about an hour out, I texted ahead to see if they were ready to FaceTime, and texted back home to let them know that the epic journey was coming to a climax. There was a lot of road construction and traffic here was noticeably heavier, but things kept moving and I was soon pulling off the interstate onto Surface Street. Into their condo complex and pulling up to their garage, I noticed Jay was in the garage. So my email reveal that I had planned so long was not going to be, but it was still an awesome reveal. Over the holidays we got together with Ann and Jay and reminisced on camera about the big reveal, so I'm going to let them tell you about their experience in their own words, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to do this kind of a documentary recap of the trip. Happy New Year, everybody! We're here to talk about the big trip out west. We got the stars of the show, Jay and Ann. They were there. I figure you guys heard me talk about it enough, and we should hear from them. You were in the garage, and what was going through your head when I pulled up?
So I was in the garage just exercising. I have a gym in my garage that's where I do most of my working out and stuff. I was just kind of in between sets. I was kind of meandering around. I just changed the station on the radio I was listening to, and somebody pulled up on a bike, and in such a fashion that they pulled up almost into my garage, and like I was immediately like who is this? Like who are you that you're pulling up into my garage? So I was kind of on this like naturally defensive, like I don't know who you think you are, but like this is my space. I don't know who this person is. It's like, well, that they're riding a bike that looks a lot like Justin's. And I said, that's impossible, Brain. Justin's bike is in Michigan with Justin. And then Brain said, but wait, they're using a kit that kind of looks a lot like Justin's. And then this person got off their motorcycle and kind of very sheepishly like waved at me. And I was like, that's a strange thing to do to someone you don't know. I was like, well, that's a very similar build to Justin, Brain says. And I said, no, Brain, again, Justin, it's not here. He's in Michigan. And I was like, ha-ha, final data. That helmet is not the right helmet. That is not Justin's helmet. And then this person took off their helmet, and it was Justin. And I was still not quite sure what was going on.
And I'm like, all right, you ruined my surprise, but hold on. I have this email half composed. I can still send it to Ann, and then she'll get the reveal that I had planned so many hours. So hold on. I got the GoPro going to get a picture of me in front of the garage for that last picture to send to Ann. And then you took it upon yourself to ruin the surprise, kinda.
I heard people talking in the garage, and they were kind of using hushed voices. And I thought it was my neighbor who pulled up on the motorcycle, because a lot of our neighbors have motorcycles. And I was like, what does my neighbor have a beef with Jay about, that they're arguing in hushed voices in our garage? So then I tried to be really quiet and opening the screen door so I could eavesdrop on this neighbor's conversation with Jay. And I looked down and I saw Justin.
Sheepish wave.
Like, what the, your motor, and the, huh?
And so the next thing out of Jay's mouth is, wait, what have you've been lying to me this whole time? Is your dad coming here too? What else haven't you told me?
Because you don't get too many really good surprises anymore. Like everything's you kind of know what's coming. There's very few things that you're actually surprised about. So I was like, I met it with like a little bit of like, you asshole. Like, how could you do this? How could you do this? Like, how could you do this? Good one. Good one.